All right. Here we go. Here we go. I told you I was going to do not go live. And here we are. I'm going to be um, give a little time for y'all to come on. Let's see here. Yeah. So, a lot happening in the world today, but I'm not going to bore you with all of that. You see the question on the screen says, yeah, it says, does it take a man years to decide to marry a woman? I'm going to go over a post real quick. A friend of mine, he posted this, and when I see, different things regarding relationship, I like to chime in because to me, um, prosperity is posterity. Okay, you're gonna see it. Posterity is prosperity. Now, some were like, "What in the world is posterity?" I actually had somebody ask me that before, and posterity. If you see me looking to the side, I'm looking at another screen. All right. I don't do this a bunch, but so let's see how this works right here. I'm gonna share the screen here. Screen. All right. All right. So you see that right there. So it says noun posterity of future generations, all future generations of people. Yes, yes, yes. All future generations of people. We're talking about future generations, y'all. Future generations. Considering all that's happening, uh, you know, what that got to do with man marrying and all this other stuff. Yeah, I know a lot of people are a lot of millennials too are deciding not to marry. Um, and but what they find themselves, the situation they're going to find themselves in is a situation to where they are still going to have relationship issues. You can't run from relationship issues, whether you put a ring on it or not. You're going, I mean, it's inevitable. We're people. So, anyway, the post, I'll show you the post here. The, um, uh, the post had everything to do with um, sharing the fact that a man has the ability. See right here. My friend, he says, "This true, my brothers." Say, do we really know this soon? Was the question, and I'm grateful for him to asking the question because a lot of times, that conversation is not there. That conversation, let me say, in my experience, I know there are some who desire to be married and stuff like that, but as far as going in depth, it's just not there. So uh, the he was sharing a post where a guy says a man will know if he want to marry you 6 months in. He don't need 4+ years. All right, I don't see anybody in the chat. Let's see here. We gonna Make sure that there we go. See, get the comments going. Yes, yes, we want comments from everywhere. All right. So, all right. Yeah. So, in the comments, just tell me, just preliminary before we go through this preliminary. How many of you believe that this is true? See if I can get some folk in the chat to tell me what's going on. Because, hey, April, what's up, sis? There may be a little bit of a delay. So, yeah, all the way from the East Coast. Yeah, this has been in the business for a long time. Been in the business of healthy relationships a long time. So, according to this, it looks like now you can't say whether or not that's positive retweets, affirmative retweets, maybe, where people are like, yes, this is true. I don't know. But it looks like nearly half of them were quote tweets. So maybe that's the yes. So we kind of running 50-50 maybe, right? Let's see here. I just saw something. Okay. Let's see. I just saw something. Let me see what's going on. All right. Okay. So 240, no, 2,400 to 5,200. That's almost, half. All right. And so for me, let me see here. Okay, there we go. Anthony Felder, good guy, good man right there. I knew 6 months on. Everyone is different, and that's true. I believe you have an idea in 6 months, but need more time. I believe that's going to be time to confirm. Yes. Yes. And I'm going to go over something, man, that, and I only speak from experience, um, you know, so regarding knowing, and especially knowing when you're not looking. I kid you not. I wasn't looking for a wife when Elaine was bestowed upon me in all her glory. But um, that story is for other days. I just want to stay right here. Now it looks like he has 17K, 17 and more than a half K likes. So people are liking this post. So let's look at the thing was the question, because let me just say, Elaine and the girls told me, say, Pop, you ought to, and Babe, you ought to video live. And also, Antonio said the same thing. He said, yes, bro, you should do a live on this, right? Hey, Sherelle, what's up, sis? Yes, you can know if she's worth committing to in that way if you are not busy, caught up in the lust and infatuation. Yeah, man, using some big words and such. Look here. Let me see. Okay, Danny Yahoo, I'm gonna send you uh, a message for you to be able to chime in, because I love for folks to be able to for you to be able to chime in real time, and we can have that old conversation. All right, so checking your messenger. I just sent it to you. All right. All right. Let me get back to the broadcast. There we go. All right. So I just sent that in to you. All right. So okay, let me read a couple of things right quick before we even get to mine. Brandon Lewis say, yeah, maybe sooner. All right. Some folks. Then Yahoo, I agree. It's clearly on. All right. Then there's Brandon say, I was married within 6 months. Say it was a wrap. He was all in 6 months. Right. He said, Yohanan says, I believe it's possible. All right. That's two affirmative. Right. George Anthony said, you may not be ready for marriage, but I do think 6 months to a year, if she's at least a keeper. So anything over 2 years and y'all not even talking about marriage, yeah, you just playing. Right. All right. Eris said that depends. That's depend. Okay. We are speaking from scriptures in here or just about the social way of thinking. Now that brought up a wonderful, that's what just really sparked my attention there and everything. Is it just a social way of thinking? Just social way, LOL. Scripture was on site. All right. So Jeremy says 6 months. Oh, there we go. Let me see. We got Danny Yahoo. Let me see if I can switch it up. The stream. There he is. There.
Hey, shalom, Mark. How you doing?
Shalom. It's all good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got it going. So, real quick, I'm just reading through the comments. Wanted to give you some time to get in and everything. I wanted you to add some perspective and everything on the post.
Well, pretty much, it was a post that I actually saw somebody else post.
Right.
Yes, I'm quote unquote quoting the tweet. And I just wanted to present the question to everybody on my timeline because obviously, if we want to go off the scriptural perspective, that who knows what the times, I guess the scale of falling in love is. That's a different time. But I guess in modern day and our generation and things, it's just like I hear some dudes saying we got at least date 3 years and then be engaged for another 2 or 3 years. And then if it worked, then I guess we'll get married, So I was just like, man. So it's a conversation my friends and I always have. I'm just like, so what's the time like? Like what kind of scale should we be looking at? And I was like, honestly, man, back in high school and college and stuff, I guess you could take your time, but I think right now the real thing is women don't have time. Women are not about to let you play with them for years and years and years with their biological clocks ticking. So now I'm just like, look, man, if y'all want somebody, you're gonna have to be able to commit within a year, let alone 6 months. I actually had a friend say he was dating this woman. She got a house, got a degree, everything else good. She just wanted to get married and have kids and whatnot. She was like, you got to know within 6 months if you want to marry me. And the question kind of scared him. And I was like, I mean, it's a tough question, but it's just like, I do understand. I'm 26 right now, so she was like 27, 28. And I was like, man, that's a fair question, brother. I mean, so, and all dudes have different perspectives on it. So that's really why I want to present.
Yeah, and bottom line, when you look at the relationship piece, and this is from years and years, over 40 years of research, the determinant of a relationship, whether or not a relationship will work or not, has to do with how you repair. how you recover from issues.
That's real.
It's all a decision. It's totally a decision. You choose to be with somebody. Yeah, I'm not telling anybody to just go and get with somebody just to be getting with somebody. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there are some things that we miss out on. There's some relationships that we miss out on because we are thinking of really the superficial things. We're thinking about houses, cars, and this and that. But houses and cars, what are they? What did Luther say? A house is not a home. Okay, wait a minute. That's a little. That's my age. That's
I
okay.
got this song on my phone though. That's a good song.
Okay. Yeah. If the two of us are far apart, you
Right.
know. So anyway, that's one of the things. I think we overthink the relationship piece, and we um uh, uh I think things that we've seen people do some, and this is what I want to challenge men and women to do. You've seen busted relationships over and over and over again. Pay attention to how those relationships manifested. Pay attention to they uh, um, how they grew, and how they dissolved. Say, because it's interesting that we can talk about other people's relationship and the failed relationships of my parents and my aunt and them and my all of them, but we doing the same thing that our aunt and them and cousin them and uncle them was doing in the courtship piece.
Right.
Now I have a different story, and we'll get to that here shortly. But I want to get to the meat of this. What you, Annie Lane, and them were sharing about this. Eliyahu said, I was married after 3 months, 3 children, 15 years later, we're still going strong. Yes, it can happen. But we're not telling you to just go out and marry Bobo Ski Wadentide, and think everything gonna happen. It's gonna be all right. There is some choices, and that's something that I was writing years ago called "Dumb Men and Stupid Women." So dumb men who, you get a woman who, let's say you had a particular background where you can't provide like you want to provide, and you can't do this. So maybe you working, at a place as high as you can go, right? But you meet somebody, they love you for who you are and not for your paycheck, and they make a paycheck bigger than yours. They living well, right? Like you said, the sister got a house, car, and everything else. She just ready to add add a man to the mix, right? So if she's ready to add a man, and here you go, you feeling some type of way because your woman making more money than you. You take the Mercedes Benz she done bought for you, and you riding some folk, you riding your side piece in it. That's a dumb man, right? Stupid women who waiting on the 6'5", 6-figure man, right? And they sleeping on some of these 5-figure, 5'9" dudes, 5'4" dudes.
Right.
Come on, I mean, it's crazy how we have developed this thing. And I'm sorry, Black people, we don't have that luxury. We're dying in the streets, y'all. And I'm sorry to go political, but we dying in the streets. And in every man is generations. That's why I said posterity is prosperity. Understand? For years down the line, and folks don't even know you was alive. Anyway, I'm gonna stay right here.
Could I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
To the topic at hand. With Ellie, he said after 3 months he was married and knew his wife and had children and whatnot. The question I presented to him afterwards was, how did he know? And then I had another sister on there that she replied, and she was like 6 months. I was like, did y'all know each other beforehand? To your question about how we don't look at how relationships were formed and what things that took place in them and how they finish. One thing that I preach to my friends a lot is how is the relationship starting? I'm a big proponent for being friends first, and that's what Adria, yeah, that's what she said. She knew her husband; they were friends. They kind of grew up together. So I feel like if y'all are like that, the time period can be much shorter and streamlined.
Right, because you done seen how a person live.
Right.
And that's something we always say. We always, that's something that Elaine and I have always shared, and we share with our children. Be friends first and see how a person acts. We had one of our daughters had this young man that was interested in her and everything, and we had a community event. We were out feeding, people out at one of the parks here in the area, and she was like, I asked her if she was going to invite him. She was like, no, I don't want him to see me all messed up. I say, that's when he need to see you. And matter of fact, we gonna be working out there, and that's what you need to see. You need to see his work ethic. So bring him on out, and let's see how he gets down. Let's see if he's gonna shun or run away from work. If a man run away from work, ladies, you need to run. You need to run. So, but yeah, I see the picture here. This is Adria. Yeah, that's them. Look, she was taller than him. And that's a good point. That's a good point. But this was something that I shared regarding this particular situation. And I'm not going to be on too much longer, but after our reading tonight, we're going to do I'm going to do another one on the other Facebook page. And it's going to be along the same lines as far as people finding their partner a god. It's taking the place of the father, left and right, and how we need to keep first things first. The first commandment: love him with all everything. Have no other god beside him. He's not going to bring you somebody to replace him.
That's true.
Make sense?
So, can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
While we're on this, right? So, from the perspective of Scripture, from just, I guess, using the example of how when Isaac saw Rebecca, he fell in love with her, so to speak, and it just seemed maybe it was a time scale up in there, but the Scripture doesn't really present us with the months and years and how long it took for them to really fall in love and to be wanting to be with each other. In those situations like that, how people kind of just fell in love at first sight and just love each other off bat and were just deeply in love and like that. How do you think people were like that then compared to now?
Well, something that we don't have is our culture before slavery. And there are a lot of us who are learning our culture before slavery. But when you just take the text that you're talking about and just look at the text, it says that she lighted off of her camel and she went and greeted him and he wifed her. They started the process. Now, one of the things that they had, he knew that his father was going to approve. His father had a relationship with the Most High. And that when his father saw that he was ready for a wife, he trusted the process.
Right.
This day and time, that type of trust is rare. Yeah, if even there.
Right.
It's little to none. So one of the things that Elaine and I say all the time, if you fall in love, get back up and dust yourself off. Because falling in love, there's nothing good come out of falling.
Right.
So you decide to love. Because, we share all the time, Elaine wasn't the woman that I thought I was going to marry. And I was by far not the type of man that she wanted. Right? Because when we met, I was already a preacher. And she was like, I ain't marrying no preacher. So it wasn't it wasn't even a thing, and at that time I had done some things, and I was decided, man, I'm not getting married right now. I want to walk this thing out and stay on the straight and narrow, and when my wife comes, she'll come, but I wasn't looking for a wife, and she wasn't looking for a husband either, so that's one of the things that I share with folks, hands down. You need to choose to stop looking and let it happen, and pay attention. Some of the people that you have in your friend zone, they may be the best one for you. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
So this was my real quick. We got a few minutes, about 15, 20 minutes. Why mess with her was my reply. It was like, why mess with her if your plans aren't to keep her? Meaning, why even get involved emotionally, exclusively with one, if you don't plan on keeping her? All right. You don't keep test driving cars. A perpetual test drive is stealing. So when the brother said about when you was mentioning earlier about the brother saying, 3 years and then 2 years engaged and everything, I was just wondering, are you getting the cookies? Are your hands in the cookie jar?
I mean, everything is being done in that process.
See, in that, and I'll show my reply to somebody else here, is that and this is why we have, we can't develop generational wealth paying child support. You can't. I mean, it's rough building generational wealth on child support. It's come on. We will remain on the bottom, according to the Dr. Claude Anderson. We already the poorest group of people in the world, even with the billionaires, the few billionaires that we have.
Right.
Collectively, we are the poorest people in the nation. We own no industry, nothing. You can go check him out on what's the name of it? The Breakfast Club. He was on the Breakfast Club. He was talking about his books and stuff. At one while, Amazon had his book at like $200 to wouldn't buy. New form of book burning, but it's come down since or whatever. But yeah, so I was like, no perpetual, test driving. You haven't signed or committed. Now, let me say this too. This is not only to men, because it's women that just want to ride too.
Oh yeah.
I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping. This ain't just getting on my guys or whatnot. However, we are the standard. As the head goes, so goes the body. So as a man decides to deal with himself, keep himself situated in his flesh, he can trust that his woman will, right?
Right.
And if she moves around, because I've seen that happen before, where a guy was a faithful dude, he wasn't trying to move around. Sister girl left. She was like, I need me some. So without that continence, that ability to maintain myself, it leaves we're not able to just fully receive the relationship beyond the sex act. Okay, so in another, don't if you ain't, and I said I had to be country with it. If you ain't in the market to buy, don't shop. So if you're a single man and you're trying to get your business together, don't shop. The relationship. Don't shop. Don't even put your hat in the ring or whatnot, because you're not going to be able to. You're going to have to where the children are not able to receive all they need to receive in a 2-family household. I won't even go through all the research regarding how it's best. Not saying that everybody that come from a two-family household did well, but the chances and the odds have bared out that yes, they fare better than those who come up in a single family household. Let me look at some of these comments real quick. I think as a woman, don't date first of all. We find someone that we like and think, oh, let him be the one. Yeah, playing mind games. If we dated friends in our friend zone, then we would find that he has been in our face the entire time. Yes. Also, we use our biological clock as a time factor for us to get married. Then we end up settling. That's right. I mean, listen. Now, if you decided to go get your coins, that was your choice. Not you, Miss Brown, but I'm just saying. And it's good to see you. It's been a little while. Um, so if you chose to go get your coins, get your education, all that stuff is good. Who says you don't have children until you 32? You don't have children until you're a certain, as a woman, a certain age. It's folks. What Janet Jackson had it at 50, had one at 50. Now, I'm not suggesting for anybody to go in and wait, that long. But I'm just saying, allowing your biological clock to tell you when to marry and so on and so forth. And there's a ton of children out there waiting for adoption too. So
that's a good question. That's a good thing you just said, because another conversation my friends and I are having is we seeing girls from college and high school seem like nice, wholesome girls, but now it's like they've been single for forever, and it just before you know it, they end up having these miracle children without fathers. Whoa. And then, or at least it's no fathers on their social media,
right?
Immaculate conceptions and whatnot. So, and we just like, man, it's like I guess after so long, it's just like you eventually. I don't know if you get lonely, you just make a bad decision or whatnot, but it's happening.
Well, some are doing it surgically. Going to the in vitro way from sperm donors. So that's happening there. April had some wonderful tips here, wonderful questions. How do we love? Where do we learn how to love? Do we love ourselves? Do we have the capacity to create a legacy with a partner with a strong, positive foundation? These are all questions. These are all part of the things. What are the mile markers to go into manhood or womanhood? Just speaking from the Black perspective, our culture has been ripped from us. Our names were changed. We had no everything that we could have known about ourselves to know what those markers were. To crossing over into manhood, crossing over into womanhood was stripped, unfortunately. However, right now, there are some choices that we have to make. For instance, when a brother says, well, I don't know, that's, this is just how it was when I was growing up. Okay, there's a time when you are of the age where you begin to take the bull by the horns. You begin to take your life by the horns and make some choices for yourself. Yeah, this is how it's always been. Is this how it always have to be? And that was a choice that I was had to make. I was, raised in a family of people who fancied women, to say it nicely, but I had a choice. I saw the fruit of it. And I was the fruit of my daddy not being at home. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want my kids to do that. And what's interesting is you can begin to flow into your past. If you don't pay attention to your past and know your past so that you don't repeat it, you will repeat it without even knowing it. because I'm telling you, I didn't see that coming. And I wound up putting one of my children in the same situation that I was in. Never in her life seeing her biological parents together. And that was one of the things that I said I did not want to do. But I recovered, and we did the best that we could in the relationship and whatnot, and got it done. But yeah, I think when like I said, when we develop a value men for our seed, that we don't just place our seed in any old field. We don't plant our seed in any field. For instance, let me just say this. So the young lady who I was with, she wasn't mine. The father told me, he said, that's your neighbor's wife. If I haven't told you that that's your wife, that's your neighbor's wife. Long story short, we broke up, but we had a child. That wasn't my ground to sow seed in. I couldn't even believe to get her car fixed. But when I got the ground that I was supposed to be planting my seed in, I was able to raise her from the dead, not out of my own power, but because of the authority that the Father gives to us when we are in his will. The Messiah said, I give you keys to the kingdom, right? But if I'm breaking the king's laws, you think he's going to just give me the keys?
Not at all.
If I'm breaking my mama's laws, I don't expect her to change the locks on the doors? Now, some of these new mamas might, but I'm just saying, them old school mamas, them other mamas, you're not just going to live any kind of way in my house and not abide by my rules. So I didn't have the keys to the kingdom in the first lady's life, to where I couldn't even, I couldn't get an inspection sticker. And I'm thinking my faith is wavering. I was new in ministry. I just said, it's 1993. I was 1 year into ministry. So it is like, man, why this happened? I fell into some other stuff. You want to come? This is some stuff that I'm mentioning again, the upper deal is that having accountability and support, brothers one to another, we could help alleviate, I believe, in my opinion, we could help alleviate some of these, things that are missing, like the mile markers for manhood. Not just for those of us, I'm almost 50, you're 26. Now we got to start looking at the 13-year-olds, we need to posterity in order for our nation to continue to grow, and provide to the world what the Father has designed for us to provide to the world. We got to look to the generations behind us. And just casually having sex, the point in my post, casually having sex is not what's going to, and just toying with people and creating scars. You in somebody else's car, and you just adding miles to that person's ride. It makes no. So when I see another woman and I don't have a word, so that's what I want to end with. When I have a word from Yah that this is my wife, that's where my authority is. And I'm not talking about lording over the woman. She's a helpmeet, which means you was insufficient. Right?
Yes, sir.
So, but having authority to be able to cover her. And I shared this with some young women at a graduation ceremony. I said, be careful who you allow to bring their seed into this seen world. I say you are a portal from the unseen into the seen. So be careful who you allow, what type of seed you want to give to the world. So don't receive seed from everybody, because a fella who doesn't have the authority, they can't call you from the dead. They can't make those miraculous things happen. Why? Because they don't have the keys to into the Shamayim, in the heavens as well as in the earth. Now, for me, that's just that's a social and biblical view. Because that's our constitution. That's what we live by. And those are the benefits that we have as citizens of heaven and earth, being our names written in the book, that we can know who our spouses are. We don't have to guess. So, yeah. Okay. So, my second thing was there was some questions that you had asked me.
Yeah, we got to the questions about your comment, primarily stemming on just, I guess, us men just having to make sure that we're planting our seed in the field that belongs to us. And my question was just like, how do you tell that to young brothers that okay, say they want to do that, but then also say they still got that lust in them? Mm-hmm. How can the two coexist in this world? And if we're using the correct logic of don't until you can provide for, until you can protect her and give her the things necessary, but you still got that lust just hovering over you every few days, then what?
Yeah. So I will say, even though I've been married almost 26 years, I remember that. I remember asking the Father, can you take this away from me? He'd be like, no, I'm gonna need you to have that lust because I want you to have them babies, boy. The lust ain't going nowhere. And there's a difference between a desire, a healthy desire. Yeah, I lust after my wife. Yes, I, Eric Johnson, am not a recovering luster. I lust after my wife. Yeah, no, there is a thing called management. You begin to manage that yourself, right? And again, I know that it's tough. I know that everything is readily available for you online. Well, sure, when I was grown, every corner store had porno mags. I still had to control myself. So much so that after so when I moved out, my oldest daughter's mom, we had what Jada Pinkett Smith said, an entanglement, right? So after that entanglement, I set up for myself a rule that women could not be at my apartment after dark. Not because of them, because of me. That's taking responsibility. I'm taking responsibility for me. Elaine will tell you when she first met me and everything, your boy, and I'm gonna speak to something that you were saying about the guys. I was talking to another brother about, he's like, I want to have my money right, and I want to have this, that, and this, and that, and the other. Listen, my car was broke down in New Caney, Texas. I was working in the pharmacy. Hadn't become a manager yet, but yeah, I was working in the pharmacy, and I had a driver. He had on blacks or navy blue slacks and a white shirt and a hat that said Metro on it. Yeah, I had a driver, you guys. When I met my wife, I didn't have a car. So Elaine gave me a ride home one day, and I just let her drop me off and we weren't, we didn't know that we would be married yet. Um, but I got off I'd had her drop me off at the gate of my apartment complex. She said, "No, I can take you in." I'm like, "No, you can. No, you can't take me in. No, thank you. I didn't need you. I didn't. Matter of fact, I didn't need you to know where I lived. Okay, because the situation in the previous situation, in the previous deal, she found out where I lived, and that without telling, she found out where I lived. So I was like, I'm going to set parameters myself for me. I'm not going to talk to women on the phone late at night. I was developing this singles extravaganza, and a lot of churches had my phone numbers, and I was talking to this one group that was going to do some praise dancing and all this other stuff. This is 1994. And so this was the winter of 93 into 94. So I'm talking to her, I'm talking to the lady online, and the conversation shifts at dark. And what's the song? The freaks come out at night. So I don't care what faith you in. There's a little freak in you somewhere. And you got to manage it. Manage your freakdom.
It's the F word, huh?
Yeah. And that's what I said in the post, about having self-control. I was like, I know it's just interesting. I said, how can no, your question was, how can you stress? Well, you just said it. I say 5,000 bank robberies happen annually due to the lust for money, right? Compared to the population, that's a minuscule amount of robberies. What's stopping the rest of the population from satisfying their lust for money by robbing a bank? Self-discipline, right? The edutainment industry, okay, here's a little bit of my country vernacular. The edutainment industry done created a generation of crack addicts. Do you know what crack I'm talking about?
Of crack addicts, of money and consumerism.
Posterior, gluteus maximus.
Oh, but
yeah,
yes,
yeah. Oh. Crack addicts by saying stuff like men think about sex every 7 seconds. That's not true. Can you do your job thinking about sex every 7 seconds?
Nah, you cannot do your job doing that.
And it's been put in all of the, if I was to pull up video after video of video, that message is bombarded that men can't control themselves. That's just boys being boys. No, yeah, it's boys. But I'm asking where the men at. So if I'm a man, not just chronologically, but emotionally, spiritually, and physically, then I have to have some of this self-discipline. We don't give licenses to kids, to do certain things unless they go through some type of training. Yet we get into relationships and we have sex with no training, and we wonder why they fail. So I say this, there's no support for this research. There's no research to support that claim that men think of sex every 7 seconds. And people have eaten it up. I have no deep answer for this. It's plain and simple. Man up and stand down. Man up and stand your little man down.
You know what's interesting about that too? It almost seemed in the scriptures that it didn't really seem as though people were having 15, 20 kids like that. It almost seemed as though even in their marriages, it was a semblance of self-control, because the kids wasn't just popping just
Right.
every 9 months, just So even then, it seemed like it was more of a, of course, the passion, but it was also, we knew it was for production, reproduction,
Right.
and it was done with a purpose.
Right. So let's get back to the purpose of it. Now, some say, but too much of anything is not good for you.
Yeah.
Even a healthy thing, you know. So yeah, that it's bottom line down to having self-control, hands down. And my answer to the second question is the answer to number one. So young men, yes, it's tough, but manage yourself now, because see, you won't cheat on your wife later on if you have developed and trained yourself that you got to have sex on demand whenever you want it. When your wife is in her time of women, what are you gonna do? Gonna look for something, and let's say you decide to use porn, right? That's still a negative. That's still something that's not the best for you. Matter of fact, one of the quickest ways to become impotent is to consume porn. Now, that's some research on that.
That might be the biggest drug in the world right now.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Or let's say you decide to step out because you don't look at you want to see the real deal Holyfield. You want to do all of it, right? Well, if you manage that now, when your wife is in her way of women, when she's had a child and she got 6 weeks before anything can go down, you're good. Because there's many more aspects to that relationship than just the sexual piece. Right? So, any closing thoughts, brother? I just wanted to, my wife wanted me to get on here. I didn't have a script or anything. That ain't really how I flow, because I don't seek to just do this, every day. And oh my goodness, it's an hour or even weekly. I when I feel something, when I, think of something, or just something like this particular situation, I decide to get on and talk about it. And everything. So
I have no really, just it was a great discussion. Just really hearing your perspective about it from an actual professional and a man that's been in a happy marriage, that's raising responsible daughters and whatnot. It's really just I might start putting more questions out there like that, just to get the conversations going. Because sometimes people may just be doing it just because that's what they think they're supposed to do. And
right,
maybe seeing a question out there and seeing what others think, and maybe seeing a correct perspective can maybe I should change how I'm thinking. So
right, and that's community growth.
yeah,
That's community
for sure.
growth, to where we can get to the place of iron sharpening iron and everything. And I'm glad for it too, and to know I'm humble and I'm always ready and I'm always fishing for those to try to impact, being that I've seen the other side as a single man and having a healthy desire, sexual desire, and having to reel that back in order to receive the glory that that I wanted. Not say should, but that I really wanted. I wanted a healthy relationship. I wanted a relationship. I remember me and my sister when we were younger, we said that if we divorce, we ain't remarrying. And I said I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that, and that was something that I just, I was like, man. Because matter of fact, when I told Elaine, we had a word from Yah that we were to be married, right? So even still, I told her, I say, now marriage is not a divorce. Divorce is not a option for me. I'm in it to win it. You know, so that's why we work People see, the wonderful part, but there's work in the warehouse. There's work at home. We gotta work on the relationship. And if she was on here, she'd be talking about, "Oh yeah, child, I'm still working on it." Ooh. Lane, stay out the comments, Lane. All right. Yeah, and and like I said, I love your thought process, man. You are a brilliant young mind these days, man. So I look forward to maybe doing some more, maybe even some pre-recorded ones, so we can get the most bang out of our book,
Sure.
especially
This
for
was
the time.
amazing. I appreciate even being on here to
No
everybody.
problem.
Listen.
No problem. All right, man. I'm gonna sign off. I don't have
Sure.
any more. I had Nichelle Johnson Jones. She was in here. April. I don't know if we still got it. I think it says about 5 people still in or whatnot. Okay, some are watching from the same device. Anyway, all right, man. Will you take it easy? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Appreciate it again. Y'all have a great one.
You too, man.
All right now.
Peace and blessings.